Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk SSSS Gridman. And specifically, let's just talk about the 3 episodes. These are my overall thoughts for the first 3 episodes of Quadruple-S Gridman. So, with the 3rd episode of Gridman, we were in for a treat. The episode was titled Defeat. The atmosphere reflected that some tragedy was going to happen, and the scenes were quiet and slow. All in all, it pointed to the fact that someone was going to die, and sure enough, that's what happened in the first half of the episode. That's what it resulted in. The second half featured the fallout and the comeback that revealed the events of the first half were one phone call away from being clarified and rectified. What we ultimately got with that 3rd episode was a bait and switch that made it look like the main character died, made it look like his friends were having to mourn him, or actually no, his friends definitely mourned him, and then it revealed him to be safe and had him save the day like usual with the addition of super robot arms. That was a bit of a roller coaster, and overall I'm pretty okay with it, mostly because I applaud the effort that the episode put into making viewers think that something terrible happened, and also because they decided to keep it contained to 1 episode instead of stretching it out over 2. I appreciate the fast pace at the very least. But 3 episodes in now, and my overall thought is that Gridman is a lot of style over substance, and when you keep that in mind, it makes moments like these easier to swallow. Mind you, when I say style over substance, I should clarify. It's a lot of style over substance when it comes to the giant robot fights. When it comes to the human moments though, it's really worthwhile and there's enough substance even if the characters aren't being super logical. I think that's what makes the bait and switch in episode 3 work, because at the very least, the side characters both reacted and had regrets based around how they interacted with the main character moments before he went MIA. So, with that in mind, episode 3 I think really captures my overall thoughts about SSSS Gridman so far. I think it does visuals really well, and when it comes to the robot fights, those are really nice to look at. Especially at little transformation sequences. Mind you, sometimes the CGI is not the best, but it's still pretty cool to look at. And when it comes to the human drama, it does it really well, and even though the characters might be too chill most of the time, their struggles are understandable even if the characters are being illogical. Like, a lot of it can be explained as just, these are teenagers, right? So it's not so bad. And the current villain is pretty good at getting you to hate her. Gridman is definitely doing a good job characterizing her, because I really hope they don't redeem her. I really don't like her. I want to see her fail and cry and throw a tantrum. So that's a great plus for Gridman as well. On the other hand, the problems are just the nonsensical nature of the robot fights, whether it be from how the powers work to why things work the way they do, or even the character drama that occurs during the robot fights. It just doesn't do as well as the rest of the show, and this is apparent in 2 critical moments from episode 3. One was where the main character has a moral dilemma about killing humans, even though during this exact sequence he is seeing the monster topple actual buildings, thus killing more humans. And while it was understandable, given that you're seeing death occur right in front of you, it makes the main character come off as kind of wishy-washy. It's made worse when you consider that the main character made his peace with the dilemma after being told that a kaiju is just a kaiju by the kaiju itself. And while that works with the battle segment, the human segments, which are much more nuanced than the battle segments, indicate that it's most likely that kaiju are more than just monsters. So it makes me dread the drama that's going to unfold if the main character finds out things aren't black and white. Only because up to this point he's shown that he's not really capable of complex thought. The second moment was when the main character is thought to be dead, and that whole situation was ultimately diffused by the phone call. The problem wasn't with the phone call itself, it was just how non-proactive any of the dead parties were, or any of the thought to be dead parties were. Like, overall, the situation could have been diffused if anyone just tried to communicate, but because they didn't think to try, or because one didn't even think it was possible, it just didn't happen. And when that phone call ultimately happens, it makes things just seem a little bit cheap. It makes the drama feel cheap. Looking at that though, I can see that my main gripe so far with Gridman is the main character Yuta. The other characters are what are standing out right now, whether it be the friends who react and give more nuance to the situations unfolding, either through being witty and being genre savvy, or just being at the right place at the right time, or whether it be the crazy villain or even the weird samurai. They're all so much more interesting than the blank slate that is currently Yuta. The good thing is that this is probably purposeful, so I look forward to seeing how Yuta develops, but just up to this point, he's a bit lackluster. All things said and done though, I do look forward to seeing what Gridman does, because so far I think Gridman's been kind of clever. Again, the characterization that they're giving to the main villain, or at least this girl villain, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I legitimately want to see her fail, and that's really great. And Yuta's best friend has been a real treat throughout this, and the weird samurai guy, he's also been a real treat, at least for the action sequences that he is responsible for. And given just the background of the Gridman production in general, and from what I've been reading online, some people have some pretty interesting theories that I would love to see kind of play out throughout this show. So overall, I think Gridman is a show that has potential, and the current problems with it right now, at least from my perspective, are Yuta. And the thing is, Yuta was given amnesia. If anything, right now it looks like these flaws that Yuta has are purposeful, and if they're purposeful flaws, it's probably because the team has some idea of what they're gonna do with Yuta in the future. All that said though, trigger shows they can get derailed, and right now with Gridman, I'm getting a lot of my reaction right now to Gridman is most similar to my reaction to Little Witch Academia. So if any of you viewers were around during the time that Little Witch Academia was on and I was making those videos about it, you probably have a good idea about where exactly my expectation levels for this show are going to be. But all that said and done, Gridman is interesting, and I'm hopeful. I'm overall hopeful. So that's pretty much it for me. Those are my thoughts for the first 3 episodes. If you are wondering whether or not to get into Gridman, I would say, well, do you like robot fights? Are you okay with some kind of cheese factor? Are you okay with just cheesiness? If think about Power Rangers, think about how cheesy that could be sometimes, and then expect that to kind of happen sometimes with Gridman. So far, Gridman has more consequences, and those consequences are making things a little bit more interesting because the characters have to deal with it. So if you're willing to sit through, giant robot fight scenes, and if you really like character drama and you like seeing character interactions, I would say give Gridman a shot, because it looks like in the character interactions it might be doing really well. Of course, ignoring the main character right now, because he's just kind of a point of view character. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. Also, if anyone's watching Gridman, also let me know your impressions of the first 3 episodes. I would love to know what other people are saying.